you doing, Sean?
Doing great, Daniel. Good to see you.
Dude, Sean, I'm still digesting your demo, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. Yeah, definitely.
So, welcome to the Summit Series, Sean, Mann. Let's have a look. Your platform, you're CEO and co-founder of RP1, and we're going to be discussing the technology that is maximizing how many users can concurrently enjoy an immersive experience with high frame rates and a lot more in WebXR. Thanks for joining. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I mean, obviously, at some point, I'd love to be able to do this in VR, right? We're all talking about this metaverse, and to be able to actually share it all together with, an audience would be so much fun. But this is obviously the next best thing. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've made notes here of things I want to ask you. And the very first bullet point is just, what the fuck? After your demo. Excuse the language, but it really made a dent in me, and we were talking about it afterwards. So for everybody, for the context, Sean Mann gave us a demo of his platform, RP1, a couple of days ago. Ben and I went in with Sean, and he showed us what he's building. And when the penny dropped of what they're going to be enabling, it just made me go quiet. So there were three things. One, the scale of what I saw, but that's just a drop in the ocean, in terms of what you're building. The second thing was the audio, because it was a demo with 4,000 animated avatars. So it wasn't live people in avatars, but they were represented, and they were moving and talking, every one of them, on this big plaza, and you would be walking, an avatar would come past you, and the audio would fade. My autofocus is playing up. Sorry about that. The audio would come in and then pass away as they walk past you. And the whole effect of all of that, the sound and the ambient sound, was the first time I realized that I had a sense of a space, not a box, but a space. So that's the second thing that really floored me. That's the third thing, the audio quality and the audio range and the sense it gave me, and that led to this sense of space. And Ben and I were joking afterwards. Yeah, almost felt like that woman in red from the Matrix was going to come past. And so I promised Ben I would mention to you, you have to build a red woman avatar into your demo that just walks past and stops you in your tracks. So thank you for the demo.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. And it's, you're right. Obviously we worked on something that has solved a lot of problems that we hope that can enable, this metaverse, the future iteration of this internet. And I think we're in the building phases of creating different websites, if you will. I see a lot of these things as more immersive websites that shows examples of what these experiences would look like. But I think getting to the bigger picture of the future iteration of the internet, you got to build something that everyone can share and not have the limitations of not only scale, but give the freedom to the creators and the developers to deploy things and as cheaply as websites, right? I think that's what makes the internet special, is that anyone can participate. You don't have to give up your revenue or your data, and you can instantly deploy something that anyone can anywhere on the planet. And so I think we're seeing a lot of these pre-AOL days where everyone's kind of building their version of what could be the metaverse. But obviously, as you mentioned, you're kind of stuck in a skybox, right? If you're limited to 15, 20 people, how do I easily move from one experience to another, or have larger venues or different experiences? And so we're trying to address that with a whole new paradigm in network server architecture.
Right. And so many skyboxes are 15, 20. There are platforms that are doing 50, 70, pushing 100. But because I want to unpack about a bit of what you said. You said quite a lot in a short space of time there, and it took me a while to kind of digest and understand the implications of what you're saying.
Yep.
So I love my multi-user VR, social VR, and like you said, 50, 70, 100 is a lot. It's rare that I'm in spaces that do 100 well. But you're talking about building something that is going to go well beyond that on the web. Is that right?
Yeah. So the goal is that, the term scale is a really challenging one, because it depends on how you want to define that. I think when you hear our demo, So obviously our demo is running 4,000 full fidelity avatars. So the facial expression,
Right.
obviously the IK, the 6 DOF, and then obviously the spatial audio as well.
Yeah.
Obviously to build a system just to handle proximity and the mapping and all those things to all
Yeah.
stream on the web is a whole new technology, right?
Right.
But the idea of scale, it's not about having a concert. Even though you could do that with your own experience, the whole premise of scale is connecting everyone to every location or every experience, so that you're not, let's say, what I believe the future metaverse would look like is that if I want to go play Roblox, I would go to a place where Roblox exists, have fun with my friends, play that game or that experience. But when I'm done, and let's say I want to go to a museum and meet my mom over at my museum, I literally click a button and I instantly move to a different coordinate system that has a museum that was built by another company. And then maybe I need to buy some T-shirts because I need to, buy some. And I go instantly to a T-shirt shop that's built by another developer that I can instantly start shopping. And this is all happening without having to wait for a pre-compiled download. So everything's forced through app stores. Scale is allowing us to all connect in one massive system. So it doesn't matter if it's two of you that want to be in the same location or you want to go to a concert with, let's say, 50,000 people. You got to have to handle the interactive activity in real time. And that's what kind of the premise of our system that we're building. So to answer your question directly, our goal is to eventually have billions of people connected in the same system, going around millions of different experiences.
Right. So you're using the word millions there, and that starts getting very interesting. And I could imagine some people either don't believe you because they just can't conceive that we're talking about this in 2022. Right. That's like, okay, yeah, maybe 2027, 2030 or whatever.
Yep.
I hope it's okay to share this, but you had a conversation with somebody in the industry from a very well-known platform. I'll let you name them if you feel happy to.
Okay.
They made the comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it was one of the most profoundly important experience or demos they had seen because they got the concept behind what you're doing. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't want to name them, but there's only a few. But yes, it was. They were very complimentary as far as the best demo of technology they've seen in their career, in this gaming space. And I think really, if you think about games in general, why would we need lots of concurrent users, right? Most games are like 1 or 2 players. There are obviously some MMOs, but the use cases haven't been, there hasn't been readily available. But now all of a sudden we're like, we need to build this metaverse that can connect massive amount of people going in and out of these different experiences. It's not going to be just one game. There'll be a game that will exist in the metaverse, but there'll be lots of those, right? And so when they saw our technology, obviously, if you look at like Meta, they're stuck with about 15 people in Horizons, and it's very, very hard to scale. So the idea of going from 15 to 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000, or even 1,000,000,000, it's just far-fetched, right? It's the idea of, well, if we can't do that, let's just build bridges in between these siloed experiences, because technically we can't do that right now. We're hopeful that eventually hardware will solve that problem. And what we've done is we've done this demo to show that we've solved it through ultra efficient software, that technically it is now possible. Now let's go build what's going to be better for the futuration of that internet, that's going to help bring people and bridge them together the same way current websites bring everyone together. And so imagine if you could start from scratch and build the technology that we all see is possible and will help bridge these things together. Let's start building that. And I think that's what what the purpose of demo 1 was for, is to show that we can go well beyond 15 people. We can put it in a massive 1 square kilometer space and have it run streaming on the web in a VR headset. Once we can demonstrate that we've cracked that code, our next demo, I think, is going to be even more spectacular, because now we're talking about 100,000 real people. So we're going to open up completely to the public, where we're going to have a 20 square kilometer space, 100,000 people that can come enjoy that and have lots of activity. So imagine Beat Saber being in a certain area, having an events company that builds their own event or a concert, having a racing game, have different activities. So now I can go over here if I want to. I can click a button and instantly go to another space and enjoy another activity, to start showing a preview of what a metaverse of this type of scale can offer. And then we hope that we're going to bring the community together to help us build the components, because we don't want to build it all. I mean, it's going to take companies to build these really cool building blocks, if you will, to make that happen. Like you need WordPress in the beginning to help build websites, right? You need different pieces that help you deploy these amazing experiences and solve these cool problems that we have to do together. We're just trying to show that thing that we're talking about that's 10, 20 years away is possible, a lot sooner. So
amazing. So I hear you use these words, and because I've been in the demo and I've seen the demo with 4,000 people, if I hadn't have seen any of that, I would literally be thinking, yeah, let's have this conversation in 5 years. But talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned the ultra efficient hardware, and you described that a little bit to me when we did the demo.
Yep.
You were talking about orders of magnitude of efficiency. I'm not a very technical person, but the way you described it, it made sense in terms of the server power and all of that. Talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's ultra efficient code that we've developed. That's just a new paradigm in how you look at building this type of architecture. And it's something that our co-founder designed and discovered just through being obsessed with figuring out how to get better efficiency. I think when you step in as any architect, you look at the math and potentially what's possible, but then you look at the roadblocks that's not allowing that scalability to happen. And he was able to crack kind of a lot of different multi-layer steps that change the game. As far as it's a completely new way of looking at that architecture. Obviously, I can't get into the specifics because that really kind of is our trade secret. But the whole premise of this was really to help make it easy for anyone to build a company. And I'll give you an example. His technology came from the poker days. He was actually the head architect of Full Tilt Poker, and he had to design architecture to handle 100,000 concurrent users in a single shard. So he's been thinking about this problem a lot longer than people are just starting to solve these problems. And when he left Full Tilt, he saw a lot of things that he wished he did differently. And when he was finished with his discoveries, he was able to, I'll give you an example, the two biggest poker companies need about 1,000 to 2,000 servers to handle 100,000 users. When he was finished, he could run 100,000 users on 2 core of 1 server with his new paradigm, because it took a whole new approach on how you share that data amongst a massive amount of users. And when he put on a VR headset, and when I put one on and we started talking, we started looking at the limitations of what is getting us to a metaverse. And that was going from 15 people to eventually billions. And we're like, wait a minute, this technology will scale the same way in VR as it would for a 2D poker company. And so we started building the demo. And by the way, you weren't the only one to be skeptical. A lot of people, I started doing, obviously, pre-meetings to really build up towards our demo. And they're like, listen, if you crack this code, it's pretty amazing, but I don't believe you. And it was a really hard conversation to have. And then all of a sudden I get them in the demo and they're like, wait a minute, this is possible. Like, I don't know how this is running on the web right now with this many users. And so it's exciting that we cracked it, but it's not about us stepping up and saying we're going to be the next Meta or something. We just want to enable a platform that everyone can participate. We don't want to take revenue from from any developer. They should own their own revenue. They should own their own data. We just want to provide the infrastructure that connects all these things together, and then let anyone build what they want to participate. And that's a challenge because you have to bring the community together. And in fact, that's actually what blows me away about the WebXR community, is because it's small, but they understand the power of the future very, very early, and they're building those things to support that future. And to me, I've done plenty of talks so far. This was the one I was looking forward to, because you guys get it, right? You understand the power in the web. It's just you're waiting for things to unlock that bigger vision, right? And so it's fun to be a part of that journey, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm excited also. So time always flies, Sean. I can't wait to meet you again. But just before we finish, I love your values in that you're trying to build this for everyone. Yeah. And it's not just about the amount of avatars. That's really important. It's about that creators can create experiences that are, it's just as much about the volume of experiences as the volume of avatars. Is that right?
100%. And I don't want to knock like a Decentraland, because I think they are a pioneer in the space and what they've built. But if you can't let people build their own activities to make you want to stay in those spaces and right. enjoy connecting with other social people, then what are you building for? It's not just like, here's land, let's invest, hopefully make money off of it. Because if it's all about scarcity, then we're going to fail ourselves very, very quickly. It has to be about abundance. And that's why the current internet wins, because it's abundant to anyone that wants to participate. Now, you could build scarcity on a website, but you can't let the platform be the element of scarcity. And that's the differentiating. And I share those values with our co-founders. So our hopeful is to deliver that for everybody. So that's super important.
Sean, thank you so much. And I would just want to go back into the demo again and see it all over.
You're always welcome. And I'd love to invite anyone in the WebXR community. We'd be happy to make some time to bring them in and see something that hopefully will show the future of what's possible. So thank you so much.
Fantastic. Watch that space. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.